Hi, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Round Robin. I'm your host, Tracy Preston, along with Christine Mulligan, Nina Mulligan, Regina Lindsay, Angela Hafler, and of course, my husband, Todd Preston. Hey, everyone.
Hello.
Hola.
Hey. What's up?
Hey, everybody.
So how's everybody doing today? Did everybody have a good weekend?
It was fast.
It was fast.
It was fast.
We were busy as shit doing all kinds of home improvements, but it looks awesome. It was worth it, every bit of it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep, so today I figured it's going to be Fact Day.
Ooh,
Fact Day here on Round Robin.
fun day, fact day.
Fun day, Fact Day. I found some cool little facts, and I just thought, these could be fun. We'll chat about it and see where it goes. Did you guys know that when we breathe out of one nostril at a time?
What?
That's what it says.
Yeah, I did know
believe
that.
And did you know that everybody just tried it?
I know. Are you holding your fingers under your nose?
Yep.
No, I mean, only one of mine ever works at a time. My allergies are really horrible. So, I mean, that's just a day that ends in Y at my house.
Right. It's totally freaking true.
What?
It's weird.
My left one's first.
That is so weird as shit. So it says, here's what's up. So it says you might think that your nostrils share the workload when it comes to taking in oxygen, and while they do, it's not quite in the way that you might expect. Instead of both taking in the same amount of air when you breathe, you actually inhale most of your oxygen through one nostril at a time every few hours. The active nostril will take a break, and the other one will take over. Try it for yourself. And we did.
Our nostrils are tag teaming is what you're trying to do.
That was interesting.
Oh, what's the matter?
I found that
I
fun
have a
little
tired
fact.
nostril.
Yeah. My left side needs a freaking break.
That's not exactly why that happens. The article you read didn't say anything about the turbinates?
No, it didn't bring them up at all.
Well, that's why that happens. It's because we have turbinates in our like in the nasal cavity. There are turbinates. Like that's how the nasal cavity is made up. So it's kind of like, I don't know, what would be the simplest way? Like,
Ledges? Like
you know the wave
ledges?
pools? You know the wave pools that you see like in museums where it'll be a little tank, well, not a little one, but a big tank, but little for waves. And then they'll show you the way a wave forms and then the way it comes back because it's in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you think about like, have you ever seen those pictures where they show you the air drag that goes over the car? So you see the air goes that way?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, what the turbines do is they kind of work like those wave machines, those artificial wavers for the under the water. It goes back and forth, but very slowly and in a rhythmic motion. So if you envision the oxygen coming into your body, when it is pushed to the left from the turbinates, it's going to go on the left side. But those turbinates, like the waves and the airflow, because those turbinates kind of, like cilia, wave inside your body, but they wave at a slower rate, and it changes the airflow aerodynamically. So it's not necessarily that one nostril is working at a time. It's just that it's working the way it's supposed to, so the filtration system can filtrate.
Well, you know what? Best Life, that's where I got this article. They just got a smackdown from Christine Mulligan. She's like, no. Turbinates.
No, I mean, it's not that it's not true. I mean, yes, of course it's a fact, but I'm surprised that they didn't go into why it's a fact. Like, it is a fact that tides are controlled by the moon, but it's not directly correlated. The water is not directly correlated to the moon. It's the rotational force and how it rotates. The globe kind of bulges a little bit to be oblong. And when it does that, it shifts the water. So then the tides change. You know what I mean?
Well,
like, so it's a fact.
It's
that
gravitational
tides are
pull.
That's what I
tied
was
to the
gonna.
moon.
That's what I was gonna say. It's gravitational pull from the moon. And
right, but
I
it's
know that.
also because the globe changes shape to where the moon is, like it bulges towards the moon. So it's actually the bulge of the Earth that causes the tides to shift,
The
not
bulge.
gravitation, not gravity itself.
Our Earth has
Oh
a
no, but
big
it's
bulge.
that like an electromagnetic kind of pull towards whatever
Right. So it bulges
part
like
of the
it
Earth is closest to the
elongates
moon
the
at
Earth.
the moment.
Yes. And that's what actually changes the tides around the world. Not necessarily. I can't talk anymore. One too many glasses of prosecco. Okay. Yeah. What I was just saying. Mouth is marble. Yeah, moving along.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, why would you want to use both nostrils at the same time? Because, like, the way I see it is like, you know how you get in cold weather and then, like, your nasal cavities, like, restrict completely because it's so freaking cold. And then you feel like you're snorting in icicles down the back of your throat.
That's
Well, wait a
Percent.
minute.
Yeah, we feel that all the time.
Right. So could you imagine that like all the time though? Like everywhere you go, you would have that freaking brain freeze icicle feeling in the back of your throat. It'd be too much. Would you want to smell all those smells? Your nose is saving you. If it's only half working at a time, that means you're missing a lot of farts. You're missing a lot of farts because if your both nostrils were open all the time, we would be like dogs or something. We would smell things that, would not, yeah.
okay. The both of us have had too much wine. Moving along.
Oh, I love it when you guys have wine. It gets very interesting.
I just had to go get some because I am seriously behind the curve here.
And I cannot drink and do the podcast. We've learned that. I did it once. I will never do it again.
Editing was a nightmare.
Yeah. I still refuse to listen to that one episode. I'm like, nope.
It was like a 5-hour edit job.
Oh, man, I was mad as hell. Mad at myself. All right, so let's see if we can rip this one apart. Ravens have moods and they are affected by others. So this article says, it is a well-known fact that the ravens are widely intelligent creatures. I knew that. But in 2019, research published in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences discovered that birds are also very in tune with the feelings of creatures around them. This empathetic trait had previously only been observed in primates. What do you think about that?
So ravens are codependent.
Yes. They're like, you know what, moody bitch?
No, it's not just us. I mean, I feel a little comforted by that.
I think we all need to get a raven. And then,
No. I think we all need to recognize that most likely all living beings feel the same things that we feel in ways that we don't understand because we're not that species. So just like we're aware of, like, there are bird watchers out there that are aware of every kind of bird species.
But that's not true because dogs understand us
I'm
Do
saying,
they?
and birds.
do they?
Like, you know what I mean? We can talk to the animals.
all right, maybe too much wine.
No.
Mrs. Doolittle.
That's what words are. They get excited when you say certain words. When you say, no, don't do that, they understand. Now we just bought buttons. We're going to teach them how to do the buttons so they can talk to us.
Say
I'm
what?
super excited.
Oh, you
Yeah,
got
the buttons.
Oh,
the talking pants.
you guys just bought those?
Yeah, they have speech mats for dogs. I want one of those.
Yeah, we just
Although
got
I'm pretty
it. I
sure
didn't
mine's
put the
just going to
battery.
say ball over and over. She'll say ball.
Right.
That'll be it. Ball,
So is your,
ball or food.
yeah. So is your guys' these balls, are they like, is it a mat that they tap on?
No, these are just little individual buttons that you can place on the floor.
Okay. And they each say a particular word?
You can record whatever you want to say on them.
Oh.
Oh, we should
Yeah.
get one. We should get that.
I think I saw a video of that recently where a woman had basically taught her dog to use that to talk. And it was really interesting because it was raining. The dog was relatively young. So the first time it saw rain, it was like it kept pushing the button for water and would run to the door. And, look at mom like, what's up with the water outside?
Well, that's cool. So, Christine and Nina.
Yeah, what?
What? So, are you guys gonna teach your dog swear words?
Probably.
Have you met him?
Yes.
Probably at least one out of the 8 buttons will be bitch. At least one of the 8 buttons will be bitch. For
I love
sure.
it.
But what I was going to say is, first of all, I didn't crush your previous fact. I didn't disagree with it. I agree with it. I'm just surprised they didn't explain further. You think, it was an educational moment.
No, I agree, but I'm thinking maybe for the general masses,
They didn't need a thesis.
keep it real short, sweet, and simple. I mean, I forgot about the word turbinates until you said it. I'm like, oh my god, yeah, and I immediately saw.
Isn't turbulence
An
when you're on
image
a
in my
plane
brain.
and it starts to bump around?
Yeah, because you remember when you learned about that? You remember when you learned about that? And you
Yeah.
saw the air curve and
Yeah.
how it flowed back and forth. And that was the filtration system. That was how the human body deters certain cooties from even entering your respiratory system.
That's how you get boogers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause it filters it and makes
Yeah.
snot so you can get it out of your body, so you can dispose of it.
Yeah.
Gross. It covers it in mucus to save the delicate human body.
Yes, the human body is. It's amazing.
Mhm.
All right. Christine's not going to let this go, and I bet we talk about turbinates yet again.
No, okay, so anyway, going back to the other one. What were you going to ask me? You were going to ask
Oh,
me
well, I was.
the curse word, and yes, it's going to be bitch,
Yeah.
but I don't know what the other ones are going to be yet.
Fuck you. What dog? What dog shouldn't know how to?
Don't talk to me like that. I have to get all alpha on them, and none of them want that.
Oh, that's
I have
true.
big dogs. I am the alpha in this house. They can't talk to me like that. Who the hell I think they are?
Yeah.
There's probably only so many buttons, and you don't want to use them all up on swear words.
Why not?
I would.
Yeah, Christine is the alpha. That's for sure.
You gotta, they have to have a healthy fear of you, so they respect you. I'm a believer in that a little bit.
Well, listen here. If you came after me with a chair, I'd freak out too. So we got to tell people what is in my brain. So, Christine has really big dogs. Todd and I have really big dogs. And before both of our boys were neutered, it was like 2 grizzly bears fighting each other. It was frightening.
It's horrible.
So Christine was giving me a tip on how to take control. Do you want to share your little story?
Well, you do. I'm not saying abuse dogs in any way, of course. No, that's not what I'm condoning. I'm not saying, hit your dogs or anything like that. But when your dogs bow up on you, you better believe you need to bow up on them, and you need to quickly subdue them. You need to physically put them in a safe, comfortable position where they cannot do anything they'll regret. And you have to do it fast so they know that thought that they were going to think to do something dumb and be aggressive dog, that is not even a good thought. So if you continuously stop your large animal from getting to the point of click, then that's how you command control.
Right.
So you don't actually ever have to hurt them, but you have to be hyper aware when they're young for when those moments occur, because you got to get ahead of them and you got to let them know who's boss. Period.
Mm-hmm.
End of story.
The click, and I said, and then there won't be a boom.
Right.
Very
Yes,
true.
Exactly, Angela. It kind of is like that. Dogs are like little tiny bones. When something happens, it's a click. What was that? Click. Oh my God.
Boom.
Click on there. Boom. That's it.
Yep.
Like that's how all dogs are. And as responsible owners, you need to be on that first click.
Well,
Yeah.
and
I had a husky that I had an incident with one time, and my ex was in the hospital, so I had been at the hospital most of the day and come home and, let the dog out, give him a walk, feed him, spend some time with him before I had to go back to the hospital. And when I got ready to take him in the house, he didn't want to go. So I reached down to take hold of his collar, just to kind of guide him in the house. And he turned his head and he grabbed my arm. Now, he didn't break the skin or anything. He didn't bite me hard, but he wasn't letting go. So, I had to I grabbed this scruff on either side of his mouth, and I basically had to sit on him and pin him down until he let go. And then I let go, kind of jumped up, and then got him back in the house. But you definitely can't show any fear in that situation.
agreed. And people who even have horses, I mean, think of that as like a really, really, really big dog, really strong, really big. I've heard people actually put their horse down on the ground, boom, because it won't listen. That's an animal you got to have listen to you for sure.
Christine, did you ever have to wrestle your horse down?
Oh, that's right. You had horses.
You sometimes you got to get real firm with the horses. Actually, I had a neighbor at the ranch where they were over, and my horses, I used to kind of I had a big acre in the front that was just all pasture that I would sometimes let them on. Well, the gates were all open, and one of them got out, and I was like, it's okay, they won't go anywhere. But then they started something spooked them, and they started running around a lot. So they were going to get near the road. My driveway went straight out to the road. So they were going to get too close to the road. So I kind of just ran in front of them and kind of, you get real big like a bear. And I had a whip in my hands, a little like a crop whip kind of thing. So I just kind of snapped it and I was charging at them. And they both got spooked enough for me and had to run back. But that was the only time that I ever really got firm and put my life at risk, literally. Because when you get firm with a horse, you're not going to win if they're that indignant. You're not going to win. So, but yeah, you have to get you have to be that bear when it comes to a horse.
Yeah. I've always wanted a horse. I remember being at your house, and they would, because you had that big, gorgeous front porch, and the horses would just walk up, and, Matt would walk out with an apple, and that's hanging right over your porch. I'm like, that's a nice way to start your day, with a smile.
Yeah.
And pretty horses.
Yeah, you did love that when you came and visited.
Yeah.
It is super cool, and I did love it, but I don't miss it that much, only because it's hella expensive.
Right.
Hella expensive, and it's a lot. And unfortunately, I had one that ended up with health issues. And I had to put it down and hire a backhoe to come on my property and bury her. And that was brutal. That whole thing, from when they get sick to when the vet tells you there's no hope and the only thing to do is to put them down. And then, oh yeah, by the way, this crazy expense to get a backhoe to your property and bury them, the whole funeral thing. That it's expensive and so emotionally hard to do. So for that, I do not miss having horses.
I didn't know you. I didn't know you had to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's
I remember
awful.
my A&P professor missing class one time, and then it was the Monday class or whatever, and on Wednesday she was like, yeah, so my horse colicked and I had to walk it all day long, because apparently, unlike humans, when a horse colics, it can actually kill them. It will twist their gut and they'll die.
Really?
Yeah. And it can come from things even something as simple as overfeeding them or feeding them the wrong thing and then not walking them, or like that whole story we did on Malice with the feeding them wet hay.
Mm-hmm.
Horses have fairly sensitive digestive systems, and theirs can literally kill them.
Well, that's...
Too many apples. Yep.
Huh. I didn't know that. I should never have a horse then.
Hay is for horses, sometimes for cows. Pigs don't eat it because they don't know hows.
Ba-dum-bum.
What I was saying, that was the crazy part of it is even though I feel that way, that I don't think I'd ever do it again, I don't regret doing it, and I totally suggest that people that have the dream of having a horse of their own one day, you should do it for a bit and then sell it before it dies.
Yeah, have it for a minute. Everything's good, and then quickly sell it before it gets sick.
Nah, we just need friends that have horses.
Exactly.
Aw. All right, well, I've got something to tell you about giraffes. Do you guys like giraffes?
I like giraffes.
I love giraffes. I don't like their tongue.
No,
Their tongue is weird as shit.
it is weird.
It's super long, and it's like purple, and it's
Pointy.
pointy, and it feels like a cat's tongue. It's got like those things on it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so this little article here says, in 2015, researchers from the University of Vienna gathered 947 hours of giraffe noises. Over an 8-year period, the study was at 3 different zoos, and they discovered that the animals produce a humming sound at night. And the scientists hypothesized that the animals do this to help keep their herd together when their vision is impaired in the low light.
Huh.
What do you think about that?
So I'm not snoring. I'm humming.
You're making sure I'm right there with you.
Did it say whether their little horns are like antennae?
No.
You know those giraffes? When they get
Because it's kind of what they look like.
Right.
when those giraffes fight, they like throw each other's necks at each other, man.
What?
Have you ever seen a giraffe fight?
I didn't know giraffes fought with each other.
Oh, they do, man.
Really?
They get brutal. I mean, they just whack their necks against each other.
Really?
Yeah, look it up sometime and watch those guys go at it.
Well, I don't think I want to.
Those little horns they have at the top of their head, those little nubby horns,
Yeah.
they're trying to poke each other in the face with those. But they can't really control their necks all that well. So it is kind of funny to watch them fight. They're just they just wrap their necks around each other. And all the while, the point of what they're trying to do is to knock each other out with their horns.
Really?
So once you know that that's what they're trying to do, and then you watch them do it, oh my God, it's hysterical.
I just think it's crazy that they have the same amount of bones in their neck as we do, but our neck isn't long like theirs.
Say what?
Same amount of bones in a giraffe neck as a human neck.
For some reason, I do remember hearing that, but I don't understand.
How does that work?
I mean, we don't have that many, so...
But it's
Oh my
7.
God, cervical thorax. What?
We have 7 cervical vertebrae.
I know. So I know their vertebrae are larger, but I mean, for they to only be 7, they would hardly be able to move it.
What is the actual length of generalized length of their necks? 7 feet?
I don't know, but they're beefy. They're beefy, though.
They are beefy, but they're, I would say 7 feet. That sounds great, Trace. Good guess.
Giraffes, despite their long necks, have the same number of cervical vertebrae as humans. Most other mammals. And most other mammals. However, each of their vertebrae in the giraffe's neck can be around 10 inches long.
Whoa.
Yeah, it says right here, the average length of a giraffe neck is 5 to 6 feet.
I did pretty good guesswork.
My whole body is the size of a giraffe. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, look at you, Nina. That was a good fact.
Yeah, but I have heard that before, like I was saying. But my brain automatically goes to, you remember those little toy snakes that were like segments?
The
And
wood
you
ones.
held it by the tail and it went click, 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 click.
Yeah.
But it could never really really move, like it looks like when giraffes move their neck. They look like rubber bands the way they move. But if there's only 7-10-inch bones taking up 5 feet, like, don't you think that would be more like glitchy?
Well, I don't think they have like the full range of motion that we have.
Oh my God.
They're not that easy though.
Okay, so now watch them fight each other and then tell me they don't have a lot of motion happening.
But this is really, I think, what I want to know is if they were to put on a necktie, where would it go?
Oh God.
The skinny part at the top or the big part at the bottom? Sternal notch.
At the bottom, it goes in the collar.
Oh my God. Todd's showing me a video. I'm going to need that link. We're going to have to put that in the show notes because that's nuts.
It's called necking.
Necking?
Yeah. And only the males fight.
Huh. So clearly it's always over a woman. Or a female.
Well,
female.
It's the animal kingdom, Trace. That's the point of life.
That's right. My neck's bigger than yours, buddy.
Well, yeah, that works.
Sure.
It gives a new meaning to dickhead.
There you go.
So this is where all the
Right?
swinging
It's
necks
like a
hang out.
measuring contest.
Well, that was...
Okay, so here's Tracy's question. If a giraffe's neck, and Christine's too, if a giraffe's neck only has 7 vertebrae, how is it so flexible? So, in regards to long neck, scientists continue to scratch their heads about the exact evolutionary path the ancestors took to investigate such unique adaptation. The short answer is they don't know.
The short answer is they don't know.
But
The short answer is they don't know.
Ow.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Well, that's not good enough.
Still reading though. Characteristics of giraffe necks give them the flexibility rivaling a slinky. The first feature is the way that the vertebrae in the neck, called the cervical vertebrae, are joined together. Remember that giraffes have 7 of these bones just like we do. However, giraffe cervical vertebrae are bound together with a ball and socket joint. That makes sense.
Oh.
These
Yeah.
are kind of joints that link your arm with your shoulder, and the same as your hip joint.
Yeah.
There we
Okay.
go.
Well, then that makes
Moving
a
down
whole
to where the
bunch of
neck meets the back, they find a second important anatomical feature for giraffe slinkiness. They call the vertebrae in the top portion of our backs the thoracic vertebrae in humans. The thoracic vertebrae are joined in the middle of the bone to provide added stability to our cervical vertebrae. And our cervical vertebrae fuse at the front and back for more mobility. Giraffe anatomy doesn't follow the same construction, and its first and second thoracic vertebrae are bound in the same way as its cervical ones with ball and socket joints. So there's the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Their neck joints are like our hip and shoulder joints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a picture here, and you can kind of see how they link together like that.
Oh, that's interesting. We'll have to put that in the show notes as well. That's cool.
And now that makes total sense to me, how it wobbles around like that. Because
Yeah.
I have heard that they only had 7 bones, and I was like, well, I would think it would look like one of those plastic snakes, those plastic segmented snakes.
Mhm.
But if it has a ball and socket, then that's like a slithery snake.
Yeah. On TikTok, I watched this guy. He's a chiropractor, and he does it on animals. And he did a chiropractic adjustment on a giraffe.
Wow.
He like tapped his neck, and the giraffe was so happy.
Oh, yeah.
He
It
was
was
so
like,
happy,
ah.
with kissing him and everything. Yeah.
Aw. That was all good intel. I just learned a whole bunch about giraffes that I didn't know. Thanks, Nina.
I found a whole bunch about a giraffe that I wasn't sure that I needed to know, but hey, it's just more trivial information to keep me from remembering the location of my car keys tomorrow.
Exactly. Okay, so here's something interesting about figs. Does anybody ever eat figs? Like raw? You do?
You
Okay.
mean the fact that there's a wasp in the middle of them?
I like fig Newtons.
Yes, you smarty pants.
There's what?
Do fig Newtons
A wasp.
count?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a wasp that dies in the middle of the flower and it causes the fig to form.
So here's what this says. Anyone who sticks to a strictly plant-based diet will want to remove figs from their repertoire. While the figs themselves are fruit, they often include bugs. This comes from Vegan Life. Wasp will enter the fig, passing into a part of the plant known as the Calimyra. All right. Calimyrna. Not chlamydia.
Chlamyrna.
All right. All right. So while trying to lay her eggs, eventually she dies and is broken down by a protein digesting enzyme inside the fig.
Huh.
How'd you know that, Regina?
I told you, head full of trivial bullshit that keeps me from remembering things I need to know. I saw it on some video or documentary somewhere. I don't know.
That's cool. All right. Well, let's see if I can find something you don't know.
Hey, it's not gonna keep me from eating my fig Newtons.
I love
care.
fig Newtons.
I love fig Newtons.
Put wasp baby venom in my fig Newtons as fruit and cake. I'm eating it. Okay.
Does it have sugar in it?
More when I was
Then
younger.
yes.
All right.
I feel like it wouldn't matter if you cooked the fig because you would just be killing it anyway.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
is
it's,
it only if you're just eating it straight off the thing?
No, they're saying if you're a vegan, you can't eat it.
yeah, like if you're
But you're
if
not
you're
a
a
vegan,
strict
is it that
vegan,
Part.
So fig Newtons you can call wasp wafers.
wasp
Oh.
wafers.
Yeah.
Well, then they would have to give up eating everything because every fruit and vegetable on the planet has some kind of bug in it. Every single one.
Your cereal.
Everything. So they should not eat it all.
Just stop eating.
No. If that's the rule, tomatoes have bugs in them all the time. So
Well,
it's
how
lettuce.
about instead of telling them not to eat, just say, be a little bit more flexible in life.
Yeah.
That's it. That's nice.
Okay.
Okay.
So see, now I'm channeling Todd. You know what's worse than finding a worm in an apple?
What?
Finding half a worm in an apple.
That would be the worst. All right. So let's see what else I got here. I wanted to read this one. Okay.
And I'm just going to say, if anybody actually ate half a worm and didn't realize that they ate half a worm before they found the other half of the worm in the apple, they got problems anyway.
You deserve the one.
Or gross.
Did you guys ever read that book when you were kids? Something about eating worms. Go eat worms. It was like a bet. Like this kid used to get. Do you remember that book? I remember that
Yes.
book, and he ended up loving the worms. He ate them every which way you could eat those worms.
Huh.
Yeah, I
How
think
to Eat Fried Worms, I think was the name of the book.
that's exactly it. That's exactly it. I gotta see if I can find that book.
See, again, with the dumb shit. I don't know.
Yep. I love it. Okay. So, did you know that we are born with only 2 innate fears?
Huh.
I didn't know that. It says, while it might seem like you've been afraid of snakes and spiders since you were born, that's not totally true. According to CNN, scientists have found that humans have 2 innate fears. 1 is the fear of falling, and 2 is the fear of loud sounds.
Wow.
All other phobias we are learned.
Sometimes those two fears can come in pairs with the falling and loud noises.
Yeah.
Boom when you hit the ground.
Yeah. Now, why do you think that is? Is it because we're, floating in the sack in the womb?
That could be.
The weightlessness being in there, maybe?
Yeah.
And maybe.
Yes, because it's the first major change in the infant. Because when they come out of the womb, and they're cognitive now, when they come out of the womb, they just barely remember muscles and swooshing sounds and weightlessness until they got squeezed out. So their first experience with
Is falling.
touching, falling, was not only just falling, but literally being squeezed like being a rag wrung dry to get every drop out of the lungs. It's crazy bananas. Think about it. Falling too.
Right. And then all of a sudden everything that was muffled is really loud.
Yeah.
And
then
bright.
you come out and you take your first breath, you're like, and then everything's like, blah, 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 blah. You're like, what the fuck?
And everything's louder.
Yeah. I'm sure the baby wants to get back in the dark.
Night shift and when you work night shift and you're ripped from sleep by, your children screaming at the top of their lungs and running around the house. It's the same sensation, I'm sure.
Right.
Right. So my thing is, I didn't say anything because I've heard of it, but of course, I've been going to college forever and a day. I'm slowly working on this doctorate. So I am aware of this, and all the research that went into this, I think is great, and I agree with it all. But I also don't understand why nowhere in there does it say, yeah, but duh, because of all of these things. Like, they mention them and they talk about it, like if you go real deep down that rabbit hole. But for me, happily, I could say they don't fully ever just come to experience is what gives you the fears. So it's a lack of control over your reaction to things. So throughout life, that's how fears happen, is because you give up the willingness to fix yourself, to deal with it differently. Is that too far, too deep? I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I get it. It's kind of like, I don't know if it's the same with everybody, but for me, it's like my oldest child was a little bit of the drama queen when she was younger. And I think a lot of that has to do with, being a new parent. Your first child falls and you go, you gasp, and they see your reaction and they think that they should be scared too. So they start to scream and they get hysterical. And then when my second child came along, it's like she fell and I would just kind of look and go, okay, is she bleeding? Is she going to get up? It's like you don't react to it. Or I would do the opposite and be like, yay, Kendall. And then she'd get up. She was like, okay, I'm fine.
Exactly.
Whereas her sister, when she was 3 or 4 years old, running down the sidewalk in front of our house, tripped and she went prone on the sidewalk, and she came running back to me, clutching her chest and saying, Mommy, my heart is broken.
Aww.
And, but just the whole thing, I think the difference there was not whether they were injured or they weren't injured. The difference is how they saw me react to it. And so the same is probably true for children developing a fear of snakes, a fear of spiders, is how do the people that they perceive to be in control of the situation, how do they react to it?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure kids grow up in households where they have a bunch of pet snakes or lizards or whatever, aren't fearful.
Truth.
Right. It's the person's experience with those things they're afraid of and how they learned how to react to it. And they chose how to react to it. So fears, really, the cure to fears, any fears, is to control your reaction to it. But yes, we were talking about how we're innately born with those two fears, because it definitely begs to differ. That was a quick traumatic experience with those things that they didn't know how to control. What fear was I born with? Falling and
loud noises.
Loud noises.
I would say those actually are kind of like the same fear. It's like the fear of being startled, because when you're that feeling of falling, or a loud noise, it's the same thing. It's you want to hear it again?
That? I do actually.
Assess this in nonverbal individuals.
I do not know. All right, I got one more little factoid for you.
What's that sound again, Todd?
But the way he not only, you guys are
I
hearing
gotta
it,
act
but
it out.
I'm witnessing, the whole facial expression and all that goes along with that. It's pretty classic. All right.
We're imagining it. We got it.
All right, I got one more fact before we wrap it up. It says, you can tell the temperature by counting a cricket's chirps. So let's see what this says. If you're not sure what the temperature is on a hot summer day, just listen to the crickets. According to the Library of Congress, the musical creatures adjust their signature sounds according to the temperature, which means that if you count how many times a cricket chirps in 15 seconds and then add 37, you'll get a number that is pretty close to the approximation of the current temperature in degrees of Fahrenheit.
Interesting. That's probably why you don't hear crickets in the winter, because it's cold.
It's cold as shit. Do they hibernate? What happens with the crickets in the wintertime?
I don't know.
They go underground?
Probably.
They find somewhere warm and try to survive. And I know this because when I was a teenager, I wanted the basement. We had a finished basement. We lived in New York. We had a finished basement. And I wanted the bedroom that my parents had just built in the basement. So that's where my bedroom went. And what I realized is come the winter months, we would always have at least one cricket a month. like just chirping away every morning. So that is when I learned about the whole Fahrenheit thing, like convert it to Fahrenheit by adding and all that. But then again, I remember I told somebody about that and they're like, whatever. And of course, older people aren't accustomed to just Googling everything, at least not at the time, because this is a few years back as well. Then we were watching a Big Bang Theory episode, and Sheldon taught all the fans of Big Bang Theory that little formula.
Huh.
Yeah. So that was kind of a fun little, because I learned it when I was a kid when we were hunting the cricket to get rid of it. I don't want to say what we did there, but whatever.
Did you
I
read
learned
it?
that little fact right then, and then it came back all those years later on a Big Bang Theory TV show.
You're like, yeah, that's old news. I knew that when I was 4.
Not 4. I was a teenager.
What are you looking up, hon?
Oh, it just, basically says that
Are you fact checking me?
crickets basically hibernate, though.
Oh, they do.
Yep.
That makes sense.
They'll hide under rocks or wherever, to seek shelter, and they pretty much go into a state of hibernation. Or they die. They just die. They just simply, I'm done.
Curl up and die.
Yep.
They croak.
They stop chirping and croak. Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of hibernation, I did read, I'm not reading this off of here right now because I looked at some other ones earlier today, but when bears hibernate, they don't urinate. Their body changes the urine and it uses it as energy. Did you guys know that?
No, I did not know.
That's kind of gross, Gandhi. That's like Waterworld, like where he was on the raft and then he had to make a whole jar of his own pee so that he could drink it. Like,
Yeah.
The Waterworld. Remember that movie?
Yes.
Kevin Costner.
Yes. I did not like that movie.
I didn't
I
watch
couldn't
it.
watch it.
It was
Sorry.
terrible. I don't even think I finished it. I certainly did not go to the movies. It must have been like on HBO. I'm like, oh, because they made it out to be like, this is such an amazing movie. I think I made it 20 minutes. I'm like, nope, click,
Same. I turned it off. Yeah.
click, boom.
Sorry. I like Kevin Costner, but it just did not seem like the movie for me. It kind of looked like they were on the ocean the whole time, weren't they?
Yeah, because it's Waterworld, there.
Yeah, right? So I was like, okay.
Yeah, there was no dry land.
Yeah, it was dumb.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
dumb.
it was like Mad Max, only in the middle of the ocean and not on the sand.
And I
In the
just,
desert, I don't know.
Exactly. It was Mad Max on water. Exactly.
Well, I like the Mad Max movies.
yeah, but Waterworld, Kevin Costner, that just was not the character for him to play.
Yeah.
It just didn't work.
No.
I don't know who could make it work, but it wasn't KK.
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa. I don't even think he's sexy. I really don't.
No?
Do you guys think he's sexy?
Well, I think that they might have been choosing him because of Dances with Wolves. So he had already kind of played that long-haired, rugged, kind of rough guy, you know?
Yeah.
And he was big in that time. Like, that was his, like, roaring 20s right there, you know?
Yeah, he was
That was
the
at
it guy.
peak of his career. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and his
Oh.
initials are KC.
Sorry, KC, not KK. Don't spell phonetically, Tracy.
In answer to your question.
What was my
In
question?
answer to your question, yes, I do.
You think Jason Momoa is
Jason
sexy?
Momoa is attractive. Yes.
See, now I used to think
do.
he was, but the more I see him, I'm like, no, he's actually kind of gross.
I like how they keep showing
He's got
pictures
a
of
nice
him
body.
without his beard, and then it's like,
I
no.
mean, yeah, he has a nice physique. Although I will say that, you know, I've always kind of been a little turned off by guys that have better hair than me. I don't know, but that's like, it's like if you spend more time styling your hair than I spend styling mine, this is probably not going to work.
Yeah, see, I think Jason Momoa needs a haircut. I do. I don't like it.
He needs to, switch it up a little bit.
I don't like long hair on dudes. It's not my thing.
Well, I'm in luck.
I know, because you
Close
don't
your
have
eyes.
any hair. Well, that was fun, you guys.
So you're more of like The Rock and not Jason Momoa.
That's right.
Right. See, now The Rock, that's more my style. The long hair, I don't know. Mm-mm. And he has a scraggly
Yeah.
beard. I don't like that either.
Yeah. It's a summer beard.
Yes. it
Summer
is.
here, summer there.
Yeah,
That's why there's a lid for every pot.
that's true. And there is a lid for every pot.
Yeah. But I kind of agree with you on that one, Trace, that the facial hair should be groomed.
Mm-hmm. I don't like that ratty, nasty. Ugh. Trim it, comb it, braid it. I'll give a hell. But it was just wild and crazy. Not for me.
Not as easy top fan then.
No. No. You know, Todd had a long beard at one point.
I did.
He's lucky it wasn't when we were together.
No, it was a few years before we got together.
How long was your beard?
It was about 12 inches long.
12 inches of beard.
Yeah.
Could you imagine Todd with 12 inches of
And
beard?
I kept it nice. I brushed it.
Yeah.
And then
He groomed him. He groomed it. And wait, didn't you
Did it
even...
have rubber bands in it? Was it braided?
I only braided it a couple times, but I only put like a couple of small braids on each side, like the Viking kind of look. But no, I mean my teenage girls were really big into straightening their hair, and I think it was Haley. She said, "Dad, you can probably add a couple more inches to your beard if you straighten it." And I was like, "Oh yeah, let's check it out." So the heat setting that they had on their straightener was way too high. And as soon as I put that straightener on my beard, it put a big burn mark right across it. I was like, okay, that's the end of that.
Yeah, his daughter gives him a flat iron that's probably 350 degrees.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know what he's
Right,
doing
so
with
he's
it.
got third-degree burns on his face.
Yeah, so you gotta, clip it in there and then move.
Yeah.
Did you just hold it there?
I just barely touched it.
Oh.
But my
Beard hair is
beard is
different.
so snowy white.
Mm-hmm.
It just,
You had a big old yellow burn mark.
big old yellow burn mark right across my beautiful beard.
Did you cut it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah.
Oh my
like-
God.
Well, there's 3 weeks down the tube.
3 weeks. He's a fast grower.
I am.
I know. Well, on that note, I think
I'm surprised Christine didn't say nothing. To
she's
that.
probably losing her shit right now, and she thinks she's on.
She's on mute.
She's not on mute, but
Straight
she's
up.
on mute
Yeah, I was on mute because hello.
because what? You're still.
Nope.
Nope, you're not going there.
Because she couldn't say it in mixed company, whatever she was thinking.
Yeah. She is legit losing her shit right now. Well, on that note, I think we should wrap it up. So it was a fun night of facts. I knew we'd have fun with those. So thanks everyone for
Good
coming.
time.
Yeah. So thanks. Oh. What?
You were like, yeah.
Bitch.
Bitch.
Awkward.
Hit the bitch button.
Oh, hey guys, listen, I wanted to share some news with you guys. So a girl that we grew up with, her family ran the local newspaper where we grew up in Charlotte.
Yep.
And I just got an email. I got it on Friday, but I didn't see it until
Late Saturday.
Saturday.
Yep.
And anyway, I'm going to be interviewed for an article about the podcast. Not magazine, newspaper.
Awesome.
Yep. Newspaper. Yep.
Yep. So everybody's going to get a mention.
Oh, yay.
Very excited.
Hell yeah.
Very excited. That's coming up tomorrow. Interview day.
Have
Cannot
fun.
wait.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So, a little bit of fun, good news. All right, so we are going to wrap it up this time. So thanks everyone for coming back and listening. And also thank you for subscribing. I'm seeing a lot of new subscribers on YouTube and I love it. Getting new comments. Love that. So thank you. I'm always going to respond back to everyone. So thank you so much for listening. Have a great week. And we will see you guys back on Friday for F-Bomb. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Adios.